Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Great. So, anyway, last week some people thought that I was making fun of Sholom Rubashkin. I was not making fun of Sholom Rubashkin. I was making fun of our show for the way that we tackled the Sholom Rubashkin case every week, week after week after week. It's not making fun of Sholom Rubashkin, who's serving 27 years in prison. The average murderer only serves 12 years. He's serving 27 years for supposedly money laundering and mail fraud. But I actually have something to say about Sholom Rubashkin this week, because on the third hour of today's Dennis Prager show, he was speaking with Harvey Silvergate, who's the chairman of FIRE. It's the Foundation for Individual Rights and Education. He's a regular columnist in the Boston Phoenix. And he's written this new book about how federal criminal laws have become dangerously disconnected from the English common law tradition, how prosecutors can pin arguable federal crimes on virtually any one of us for even the most seemingly innocuous behavior. So this new book is called 3 Felonies a Day, How the Feds Target the Innocent. So this is a good example in my mind about what probably happened to Sholom Rubashkin. See, the average professional, so a business owner, an accountant, a lawyer, in this country wakes up in the morning, goes to work, comes home, eats dinner, goes to sleep, is unaware that he or she very likely has committed several federal crimes that day. Why? The answer lies in the very nature of modern federal criminal laws, which have exploded in number, but have also become impossibly broad and vague. So in this book, 3 Felonies a Day, Harvey Silvergate, he reveals how federal criminal laws have become dangerously disconnected from the English common law tradition, how prosecutors can pin arguable federal crimes on any one of us with most innocuous behavior. The volume of federal crimes in recent decades, really since the 1980s, has increased well beyond the statute books into the morass of the Code of Federal Regulations, handing federal prosecutors an additional trove of vague and exceedingly complex and technical prohibitions to stick on their hapless targets. The dangers spelled out in this book, 3 Felonies a Day, do not apply solely to white-collar criminals, state and local politicians, or professionals. No social class, no profession is safe from this troubling form of social control by the executive branch, and nothing less than the integrity of our constitutional democracy hangs in the balance. A couple of examples. Why did Enron go down? Enron got busted because the financial disclosure that they did, they put in the footnotes, and they got busted for that. The judge and the jury said, oh, they should have put it in the main print, not in the footnotes. So that was a large part of the reason why Enron went down. Arthur Andersen went down. One of the top 5 accounting firms went down, is out of business, was KO'd, because they followed the principle that all businesses do, so that after a certain number of years they destroy their documents. They destroy the documents that they keep for their accounting. They did what virtually all businesses do, but the feds went, oh, you were criminal, you were destroying evidence. And so they knocked out one of the top 5 accounting firms in this country. So federal laws are out of control, and federal prosecutors now can pin very dodgy federal crimes on any one of us. Also, I wanted to point out the Wikipedia entry for Sholom Rubashkin has got some really good stuff. So it talks about the Sholom Rubashkin's attorneys filing a motion for a new trial after having discovered that the judge in the original trial, Judge Reed, was more involved in planning the 2008 immigration raid at Agrippas as opposed to a plant than previously disclosed, claiming that federal law and U.S. Supreme Court rulings should have required Judge Reed to remove herself from the trial. So Judge Reed denied this motion, therefore they had to appeal. So the lawyers for Rubashkin filed an appeal for a new trial with the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals in St. Louis. They made 4 arguments, and here's what's interesting. Following the filing of this appeal, the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, Washington Legal Foundation, all filed briefs supporting Rubashkin's appeal for a new trial. So what unites all 3 groups is the involvement of this Judge Reed in the case. She was involved with the prosecution, and that's why I think Sholom Rubashkin is going to win his appeal.
You know, we've been talking about that last part in the last month.
Right.
That's the thing. She's got the conflict of interest going on, at least the appearance of impropriety.
Right.
And it's enough, you know, and it's like, I just would throw in something. That was very good what you read, by the way. I like that a lot. I just want to throw in one thing here, okay? That it's
I need some water.
during the appeal, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going. During the appeal, the lawyer for, during the hearing, the lawyer for Rubashkin was saying, what you've got here is this judge who had a conflict of interest, right? You know, and was asked, what would be was there a motivation? Would there be a motivation, you know, for the judge to want to put this guy on trial and find him guilty, right? And the lawyer said no. That's what he actually said. There's no, right? Because he doesn't want to get in trouble. You can get in a lot of trouble, right, if you don't have evidence to support that. Right? But that's where we come in, lady. Right? Because what have we been doing for him? We've been doing the footwork for him. We've been saying, here's the motivation that she would have.
Yeah.
The motivation is out there, right? And they can't hold us in contempt of court, right? Because we're protected because lady is the big First Amendment guy, right? You know, right? Because we're not an officer of the court like the lawyer is, right? So they can't hold us in contempt, right? Like, did you see? We talked about it before. That movie I mentioned. What was the name of it? With
Diary of the Nymphomaniac?
No. The one with I can't even think. A Few Good Men.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because the lawyer in that case.
I prefer the sequel, A Few Bad Women.
Okay, Tom Cruise, right? He's the lawyer, and he's going to try to pin this whole thing on this decorated officer, you know, this general, whatever it was, right? On Nicholson, right? And they were like, hey, unless you've got evidence, you can't just go up there in the courtroom and just, you know, start making reckless allegations and saying, oh, well, you had a motive to kill this guy, because they can hold this guy in contempt, you know, the lawyer, and they can even give him a court-martial and take away his ability to practice law in the Navy. You know, just because he dishonored a decorated, kill this guy, because they can hold this guy in contempt, you know, the lawyer, and they can even give him a court-martial and take away his ability to practice law in the Navy. You know, just because he dishonored a decorated officer. So the lawyer has to be very careful what they do if they don't have any evidence behind it, right? So, but we can provide that to everybody out there, and we can say, this is the motivation of this judge. This is where you fill in the blanks. You can say that the motivation of the judge is because they had financial interest in this thing. They have a conflict of interest for many different reasons. We talked about the Burger King bailout. We talked about the chase and the whole thing, that they had a vested interest in seeing that, like we said before, that the Jew gets thrown down the well, right? She has a financial gain to this. No, even if she didn't do it for those reasons, it is a motivation, and it has the appearance of impropriety, and based on that alone, she should have recused herself. And then we talked about last week how she shows up at the Court of Appeals. What was she doing in the building that day? How did she swing that around, right? And now she's sweet-talking them again, right? So she's like, should not have been in the building that day. She shouldn't have had contact with those lawyers. Okay, go ahead. You want to interject?
Yeah, folks, the danger is real.
So we're done with the...
From Ireland, the land of geniuses like James Joyce, Oscar Wilde, and Bernard.
Are we done with the Rubashkin thing?
Yeah.
Just like that? Just like that, you just killed the whole thing.
We can come back to it, but I need to share this important story.
Okay, go ahead.
The story of this 43-year-old woman. She encountered a man in a bestiality chat room, and then met him in his house in Limerick, Ireland. She proceeded to have sex with his Alsatian dog. Then she had a severe allergic reaction shortly afterward, possibly from the dog's semen. She later died at the hospital.
Oh, they should use a condom.
So, folks, like, you want to get it on with a dog, like many of our viewers do, don't start out with an Alsatian. Start out with a Chihuahua. Work your way up. And like, make sure that you're not allergic to dogs before you do this, or dog semen. So like, either use a condom. Or get tested for allergies. And apparently the dog owner, Sean McConnell, is charged with